Hey friends, have you ever wondered what would happen, what would change if Goku didn't hit his head and get amnesia? Well, I was thinking about it, and then I started to think about more, and I kind of came to the conclusion that, hey, I could get a pretty cool kind of idea for a real cool story. So I started thinking, and then I kind of got a cool idea together. Okay, so one more last thing I need to say before going to the video is I'm using the Dragon Ball Minus interpretation of why and when Bardock and Guinea sent Kakarot to Earth, and that's how we're gonna go from there. Okay, so let's start our story. One late afternoon, Gohan's walking down a trail around the mountains he calls home. Gohan is admiring some birds that are picking up sticks, making nests. Then, what seems like the fastest instant the weather man has in his long life has ever happened has seen the mountains go completely silent. There's nothing, no birds are chirping, no there's complete quiet. It's the most quiet thing. And then while he's looking around, he just sees his fireball flying. So he just got over the mountains. He's like, he just kind of watch. He watches the ball of fire falling towards the mountains, and the old man watches the ball keep going down, and then all of a sudden just hears the biggest earth-shaking smash he has ever heard. And Gohan decides he's going to make sure nobody got hurt by the falling ball of fire or any animals, that nothing suffering, that he's kind of leaves. So he starts walking over there. And then as Gohan got closer to the crater that was left by the fireball, Gohan couldn't see any fire or smell any smoke. And he also didn't hear anyone crying for help or crying that they're hurt or anything. So as Gohan got to the lip of the crater, he saw a sphere with a window in it. Gohan cautiously walked up to it and peered into the window. And what he saw in the object sunk his heart. Gohan tried to pop open the circular object to get inside to check on the little boy that was inside. So Gohan started to feel around the window of the craft. Gohan's hand felt a click, and the hatch opened up, scaring the child inside. So Gohan looked at the boy and said, "Shh, I'm not gonna hurt you." And the child stood up and in a low crouch, and he made a snarling face. And Gohan kind of chuckled to himself. He looked at the boy and thought to himself, "The boy is acting a bit like one of those monkeys." Gohan backed up and kind of crouched down. He got to eye level with the boy. And he kind of he started to kind of talk to the child, then which led to a complete disaster. As Gohan let his guard down for a half a second just to kind of get down so he could talk to the little boy, the boy kind of bolted out of the pod and just ran right into the trees. Gohan sighed and started to walk home. But it became apparent within the first 500 meters of Gohan leaving the crater site that Gohan was being followed. And as Gohan got home, he realized that whoever was following him still followed him. So he starts preparing food for himself and his little friend that followed him back from the crater. So as Gohan's finished cooking up the meat and the rice that he was making, he makes two bowls. He puts one bowl kind of on a stump beside him, and then he starts eating himself. Right, and then as he's been sitting there for 45 minutes, an hour, he kind of from the edge of the trees, he sees the boy kind of come walking up to the kind of crawling, hunched over, crawls over to the stump where the bowl is, and he starts kind of eating it, and then because he smells it, he eats it, and then as the boy is eating it, Gohan kind of watches him out of the corner of his eye, and then the boy kind of falls asleep. And Gohan kind of lets the boy stay sleeping for a while. He looks at the boy, he notices the boy's got some weird, almost armor type thing on him. So he just thinks it's kind of weird, So he makes sure the boy falls all the way asleep, and then he kind of picks him up and he brings him into his house, into his bed, and he kind of puts him in the bed, and it kind of goes to sit kind of on at the corner of his hut to watch the boy, and then he falls asleep too. So next morning, Gohan wakes up. He notices the little boy still sleeping. He goes outside to perform his morning katas. So as he's practicing his katas, he hears a loud crash come from inside his home. Gohan walks into the house to see the boy looking around, looking around the small house. He had broken a vase. Then the boy, and Gohan kind of looks at the boy, and he kind of tries to get the boy's attention. As the boy spins around, Gohan can see a mix of terror and rage in the boy's eyes. So Gohan lowers himself to the ground again to meet the boy at eye level. But as soon as the Gohan sits down on the ground and gets kind of eye level, the boy kind of runs at him. And almost out of instinct, Gohan strikes a few pressure points into the boy, and the boy kind of just collapses and falls asleep. Or collapses falls asleep. He's unconscious. Gohan kind of knocked him out. Gohan blinks and thought, I can't believe I just did that. And the child is quite rowdy and dangerous. But he also seems kind of scared. So Gohan decides he's going to try and help this boy calm down and feel safe. So when Gohan went to work making food for the youngster, as Gohan had finished with the lunch, he saw the boy starting to stir. Gohan placed the bowl in front of the boy, and as the boy registered the food and he started eating, Gohan started to talk to the boy and found out he didn't know how to talk or speak of any kind of way you could recognize. All he kind of did was grunt and snarl and stuff like that. You see, and Gohan thought it was kind of weird because the boy seemed to look about 3 years old. After a while of Gohan talking, the boy seemed to be less afraid of the old man, but still very untrusting. So Gohan got up and went outside to finish his katas. After a while, Gohan felt the boy watching him, and this continued for a few days. The boy Gohan making the boy food, and the boy kind of just cautiously watching Gohan go about his day between making food and practicing his martial arts. And then one day, after about a week or so, the boy started to pantomime Gohan with great precision, and this kind of marveled Gohan. So Gohan decided over the next 6 months he was going to start teaching the boy how to talk and how to, start with martial arts. And these are the sorts of things he did. And he also took to calling the boy Goku. But the boy really didn't seem to care for that. He would grunt or just not listen. And Gohan would end up having to call 4 or 5 times to the boy with the name Goku before he would even kind of turn around and register. But one day after about 6 months, the boy kind of starts to, in a very broken sense, and almost in the more broken sense you can imagine, the boy kind of goes, "No, Goku." And Gohan, with a large amount of alarm and surprise, then asks, "Okay, you don't like?" Then they ask, "You don't like me calling you that?" And the boy kind of just says, "No." And it was more forceful this time. He said, "Not Goku." And Gohan asked, "What do I call you then?" The boy begins to try to say something. Gohan thought it sounded kind of maybe like carrot, but the boy just got enraged and ran up to a large tree and punched a hole right through the trunk, and causing the tree to topple over. Gohan had been noting for a while this child had an insane temper, and needs to learn to control it. Gohan walks over to the fuming boy and tries to calm him down. Then Gohan spent the better part of the next 4 hours trying to help the boy be able to say his name. Gohan at one point thought he was saying carrot more definitively, but that wasn't right. The boy spit out a strange sounding name, Kakarot. He said proudly. So, Kakarot. Gohan let the name roll over his tongue. Over the next 3 weeks, Gohan taught Kakarot to finally be able to speak. And one night, Kakarot said he thinks his family is dead, and that he was sent here to survive. Then Kakarot looked up at seeing a full moon. Then he quickly looked down on the ground and said goodnight to Gohan, and then he rushed inside. Gohan followed the boy inside and asked what the matter is. Kakarot spins around and lashes out, saying he was told by his father he wasn't supposed to look at the full moon for too terribly long, and that he wasn't sure why. The next morning, Gohan wakes up to Kakarot doing his katas, drenched in sweat. Gohan walks outside. Then is promptly asked by Kakarot to be trained more in these martial arts things that Gohan's always going on about. So Gohan says okay, but is taken a bit aback by how brash the request was. Gohan walked back inside and came out a moment later carrying a box. Gohan gives the box to Kakarot. Kakarot asks what's inside the box. Gohan looked sad and said it was something he used to wear. Kakarot opened the box and found a pair of orange pants, a blue gi shirt, and a white belt. Kakarot looked at the clothes and asked what they were for. He already had stuff to wear and was tugging at his armor. Gohan said if he wants him to train him, he's going to wear this. He's going to wear what's in the box. The boy scowls at Gohan, and then he pulls the armor off and leaves it on the. But he leaves his arm guards on, and then he leaves arm guards on, and he puts the boots back on once he gets the pants and the belt, and he's having a hard time tying the belt. And he's just getting angry and angry, and then Gohan comes up and says, "Can I help you? Can I teach you?" And so Gohan teaches him how to tie the belt. Yeah. So that's that. And now over the next 6 years, Gohan is going to train and teach Kakarot about life on Earth, about men, women, and the stuff that comes with that sort of social interaction, like marriage, appropriate touch. These are all things that Gohan teaches Kakarot as he goes on. And even one night, Kakarot did kind of get himself caught up at looking at the moon for too long. But this time around, Gohan, knowing that actually seeing the transformation because they were still awake at the time, Gohan kind of knew to kind of just let the rampage go on because he didn't really seem to be too directed at any real thing. Kind of destroyed a part of the mountain, so Gohan can't let happen. So Gohan's gonna survive this interaction. And then towards the end of the 6 years, one morning after Kata's, Gohan tells Kakarot to get ready. They're going to go on a trip. Gohan grabbed a box and a weird orange ball. And Kakarot didn't really care to ask about what the ball was about. As Gohan packed the bag and looked at Kakarot and saw his scowl, and the one he had on his face the most time, Kakarot didn't seem to smile too terribly much. A lot of the times, unless he was sparring or training, that's when you could tell he was enjoying himself the most. Kakarot had learned all Gohan could teach him now, so Gohan figured Roshi would probably be a great teacher for Kakarot. Gohan had been arranging this for a while through letters. Yeah, throws. Turtle was meant to meet them by the beach and ferry them over to Kami House. As Kakarot and Gohan reach Kami House, Kakarot jumps off. Gohan shuffles off, and Roshi walks out of his house and greets Gohan. Gohan looks at Kakarot and tells him to come and greet his old master. Kakarot's new master. Kakarot cocks his head kind of to the side, looks at the pair of old men, and he kind of he scoffs, and he kind of does a kind of a half bow, just try to mimic politeness. It's not that Gohan, it's not that Kakarot is very good at being polite. He's very blunt, very brash. So, and then also, when Gohan and Roshi are talking, Kakarot decides he's going to test this old codger. And he just at full sprint, he charges at Roshi, attempting to punch him in the head. And Roshi kind of grabs him by the wrist, twists it, and flips him onto his back, knocking Kakarot completely out cold. And when Kakarot wakes up, he finds himself tied up to a tree, not being able to really get out. He starts yelling at Gohan. He says, "Gohan, I'm hungry. Get me out. Get me out now. Let me out now." This is what he screams. He just steals for 5 to 10 minutes. And he finally realizes, screaming is not going to help. Maybe I just need to try something else. So now he's trying to wiggle himself out. But yeah. After a while, Gohan comes over. Then Kakarot finally kind of calms down and says, "Okay, I guess I just have to wait." Then after a while, Gohan comes over, he unties Kakarot and walks over to the turtle and waves at Kakarot and Roshi. Then Gohan and the turtle depart Kami House. Kakarot just stares as Gohan goes out of view. Roshi walks up behind him and puts a hand on his shoulder and tells him, "Come on inside, let's eat." With that, 2 years of training have begun under Roshi. Kakarot did have a hard time listening and obeying Roshi's exercises. It amounted to Kakarot half-heartedly going through the notions, doing about half of the designated assignment, along with daily challenges where he would challenge Roshi to a fight. Roshi almost always winning. No, Roshi always wins. The challenges slowly start to diminish from daily to weekly to monthly to he kind of just stops. And after a while, Kakarot starts developing a respectful relationship towards Roshi and his training, so this really goes on for the first 6 to 9 months, and then after that, Kakarot finally has developed a respect for Roshi. He starts wearing the turtle horn McGee, the turtle shell, when he starts going full into the training, because he started to notice some growth, some gains. But after the 2 years had come and gone, Roshi kind of looks, told Kakarot it was time for him to go back to Gohan. And then he gives him Nimbus. And Kakarot getting all excited. He have hurt, having been hearing about Nimbus. The Kakarot goes to jump on the Nimbus, but he falls right through, smack on the ground. Roshi kind of laughs. And Kakarot kind of whips around and says, "You know, old man, you can't ride this thing either because you're a dirty perv." But then Kakarot kind of stifles his thing. He says, "I didn't want the stupid cloud either." They asked Turtle to give him a ride back to the beach. And that's where we're going to end this video. If you liked the video, you can press the like button. And if you want to support my channel so I can put more resources into videos like this, where I can, get more stuff out, maybe some commissioned artwork or whatever, get some editing done a little bit better, you're going to hit the subscribe button. That would be great. This has been Shago Kage with another What If video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.